I am going to kick us off for our next session. It's been great learning about Microsoft and now Slack, and we're gonna wrap up our day 2 with Erin. Erin is a gifted and talented teacher in Frisco ISD. She's at Cobb Middle School. And she loves Flipgrid and she loves Bulb, and so she is going to share and talk to us about Flipgrid. So Erin, it's all you.
Hello. Okay, so let me share mine. Let's go. That should work. Okay, so I put together a little Bulb page that has everything that you need for Flipgrid. I know a lot of educators are already using Flipgrid. I'm more than happy to walk you through how to set up one and play around, but I have some videos and things embedded in here too. So this is how you get started for educators. They have a lot of like 2-minute videos that are really helpful. And my favorite tool is the Discovery Library. I am gonna get into that in like 2 seconds. So I'm gonna go over here. And in the Discovery Library, they call it the Disco Library because Flipgrid's super cool. And so.
And Erin, as you're getting started, will you just give us like a quick overview? Like if you in one sentence, what would you say Flipgrid is or does?
Flipgrid is video notes, video messages.
Okay.
So I'll just go into like my, so these are all the grids that I have and all kinds of things. So my grids. So I think the biggest thing whenever you get started with Flipgrid and what confused me the very first time I set it up is similar to Bulb having collections and then files within those collections. It is the same thing that you have a grid and then you have videos and assignments within that grid. So I made a Bulb heads grid, and within this I've got 4 different topics. Those topics are like pages. So this is one of the topics within there. Does that make sense? So I have all the different ones that I've assigned out to this group. So I'm gonna go back over to the Discovery Library, and that's gonna be at the top every single time. In the Discovery Library, my favorite part about it is that they've done all the work for you. You can go in and find things that relate to what you're doing in class, and you don't have to create all the different bits and pieces of it. So they've hooked up with a lot of different groups. I'm gonna show you Wonderopolis. Wonderopolis is one that I found during e-learning. And I had looked at it before, but I had never used it with my classroom. And they have, so Wonderopolis, the whole idea behind it is, what do you wonder? And kids propose questions. So like this one, what is a Rube Goldberg machine? So I can click on this one. This link down here, Wonder of the Day 1, 2, 3, 4, is all about Rube Goldberg. So it says, check out the article below, then think about how you would make a Rube Goldberg machine. Take some time, it's not that easy. And then make that machine and then show us your creation. So you would use Flipgrid as that video message to show what you did for yours. So what I do over here on the right is I select the grid. So I'm gonna go to my Bulb heads one, and I'm gonna add it. And as soon as I add it, I can go in and make some edits. There's one edit that I always make. So if I want it moderated, that's just if you want kids to see it as it happens, or if I can say, yes, it's okay or not. So a lot of times what I'll do moderated ones if kids are doing a reflection, and I don't need the whole class to see that. So I'll hide that one because it's just theirs. And then it's got the attachments, all of this. Okay, I already have it defaulted, view count. Okay, so I teach middle school, and when I didn't have this clicked, so if I had it on, I had kids that were sitting there And kids love views. If they have a YouTube account or anything like that, they're going to like want to have 2,000, a million, 5 million views. So I had a kid sitting over there just clicking and refreshing the page the whole time. So I take that one off because I want them to, pay attention to what's happening around them and not their view count. So I take that one off, and I take likes off usually too, just because depending on the purpose. So I do that, and then if everything's what I want it to be, I'm just going to update that topic, and boom, this is now in my bulb heads grid. So I had 4 before, now I have 5. So that one it's so easy. So it makes it really, really simple. And how do you incorporate Flipgrid with bulb? So there's 2 different ways of doing that. When kids have made their videos, so if I go to this one, I have 1 video in there, and it's me just making a little video. So in that, let me make this smaller. I can, on the teacher end, I can go in and download that video. The students, when they're looking at it, do not have the ability to do that. So there's 2 ways of doing that. If they're on their phone using the Flipgrid app, it'll give them a little pop-up, and it'll say, do you want to save this selfie? And do you want to save this video? That's something they can do there. But for the most part, kids are not going to think that far in the future of like what they need to save and what they don't. So what I have over here, I can do this. Okay, so they can, this is linked on that same Flipgrid bulb page. They can download their videos, so they can either do it when they make it, but it doesn't always work with Google Chrome. They want you to use Microsoft Edge. Flipgrid is now owned by Microsoft, so they integrate with all the Microsoft tools as well. But there is myflipgrid.com. So if I click here, this one's the magic. I've already logged in. It'll have you log in with your address. This is every single Flipgrid video I have ever made. So it's all 48 videos that I have. And I can go in to any one of these. So this is a newscast over here, and I can download this video. So this is really great. So if I want something, if I want all of my kids to, that's my 5-year-old, they made, his room had the red room had a remote learning channel as well. And he loved the selfie part. Look at that. But I could go in and download any of those videos now and then add them to my bulb portfolio. So let's say I'm doing a project and I have little check-ins along the way of reflection. I can at the end like stitch a video together of all of those different things that I've downloaded and put that into my bulb portfolio to show like my process. I can also, let's say there's something in here like I made that Rube Goldberg machine, that I could go in and show my Rube Goldberg machine as like a product in my bulb and like the process that I did for that. So those are the biggest things that I would say with using Flipgrid and bulb is to download, and that this myflipgrid.com is going to be the saving grace for kids that like, oh, miss, I didn't know I was supposed to download that. You can also download it for them. So after they've made those videos, I can go in and download. I can also, they have one of those, I'm going to go to one that has more. So if I go over here to this weekly check-in, which is also great during remote learning, you can see their faces. That was my favorite thing about Flipgrid during remote learning, is that I could still see my babies. So I can go in here and I can do a bulk action where I can download every single one of those videos in one click. So that's really helpful. What some teachers will do is they'll do that and then drop it in a like Google Drive folder so that kids can access it through there and then add it to their bulb. So there's a couple different ways of making that happen. But this myflipgrid.com is the one that I had never really used that much before. And that's something that I think would be really great for kids to have in the future. I also put how to use the Discovery Library. And then again, that My Flipgrid, and then that same page that I was just on for students to download. This is the teacher end and how to download too. I'm gonna go back in the Discovery Library one more time because this is also, like, I just showed you things that were ready-made. When you're in here as a team, so let's say I made something, I can share things to the Discovery Library. So I can go in here and I can search topics, and I'm just gonna look for my name. And these are things that I've created and shared with my team. So like this one that has 9.5 hours of engagement, that's because a lot of different people on my team use that. 19 different teachers on my team use that for this one. So then one person creates it. This is something that I did with our curriculum writing, that I would make some of these, and then I could go over and share it out. You can also share it so that like anyone in the world could use it too. So that's something else that's really nice with it too. Okay, I feel like I talked a lot. Do we have some questions?
Yeah, that was great, Erin. And what awesome tips about the myflipgrid.com and some of those. Will you share a little bit about like some of the grids and how you use it in your classes? Like we saw you had something about books and storytelling, but maybe just give us a couple examples of where you feel it really powerful and some examples of using Flipgrid.
So let's see. The book club questions, that was, I had kids meet in book clubs face to face, and they would make little videos in their group to share out what they had done. What was really great is like this Count of Monte Cristo sociogram. So if I click in this one, this is a video that, and I did a little example one there. So this is a kid made a presentation. So it's a 1.5 minute presentation. So instead of having, so like you get to the end of class, kids are working on something they're supposed to present by the end of class, and you get like 2 of them done, and then you still have more presentations to do the next day. So instead of taking that 10 minutes to showcase with the whole class, I would take that 10 minutes and have every single group make their own video. Then I could share these out like once a week, or little like warm-ups. Okay, let's look at this video today. Or we could all like as a class go in and watch 3. It saves a lot of time and lets kids have that, like it's the same exact group presentation, but they're doing it more efficiently. So I can have 12 groups present in 10 minutes versus having like every single, like those 12 kids, like 12 groups, it would be 5 minutes each. That's a whole day in presentations. So that's a really nice way too. I'm just gonna click out of this. So that's another way that I use it. The daily check-ins. I'm just trying to get out of the screen. Daily check-ins are really nice too. Or I did weekly ones really, because they got a little, if you use it too much, I find they get Flipgrid fatigue. Also, there's usually a question of what if a kid doesn't want to be on screen? This is that, like they show the product, they don't have to show themselves. So that as they're doing this, no one's on camera except for that piece of paper. So that's something else that is a different way of showing what they did versus, yeah, because sometimes kids don't want to be on camera.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip as well. And then can't they put like stickers and stuff on?
Yeah, this one has stickers.
Hide some stuff and thing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they can also, as they're doing the video, they can, you can turn that on or off. I can show you right here. So down in the bottom, if I edit this, so there were some times where I wanted to see their sweet faces and they would put a sticker in front of them. So I could turn it to selfies only so that that cover page could have something covering them. But if I want to see they could only do it for selfies and videos, and they can put something over their face, or they could do it that they don't have any and they can't have any stickers at all because I want to see them.
Yeah,
and I always would put that in the assignment because it's a different, I mean, I look different today because I knew I was going to be on camera than what I did over the weekend, you know, so that kids know if something is going to be like a presentation versus like I can have a big emoji over my face.
Yeah, that's a great tip of adding that in the instructions to give kids a heads up on that. We did have a question from someone. Do you use Flipgrid to send videos of yourself to your students? So you're kind of speaking to your students, or do you mostly use it for students to respond to assignments and create their videos?
That is something that they just added in. I will do some little videos and that kind of stuff. It also integrates with Wakelet. So if you're using Wakelet to create a collection, I could put a video. So all of these, this one right here is embedded in a Wakelet video. So I've got a Wakelet collection and I made a little video explaining what they're doing there. So I can make little videos that stitch things together. They also just added that you can do a screencast so that I can walk through the whole assignment, or just like a screencastify on another page. The thing about Flipgrid is that they're bankrolled by Microsoft. So they get to do a lot of, like, they're constantly just doing things and upgrading because they have the resources to do that. So I think that's something. Oh, I just clicked out of the.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. Do you know, and you may or may not know this, but is Flipgrid a service that schools and teachers pay for? Is it something
completely free because it's bankrolled by Microsoft? When it first came out, you did have to have a subscription. You only got one grid for free. So a lot of teachers that tried it out in the very beginning were, oh no, I have to pay $80 a year to use this, or $65 or whatever it was. They actually refunded all of the subscriptions whenever they were bought by Microsoft. So if you had bought it as a personal one,
yeah, so that's great to know that that's a tool available free for educators now that it's a part of the Microsoft suite. Someone had asked, so you were talking a little bit about the new feature of Screencastify, and I don't know if you, because it's a newer thing, if you know much about that, but can you explain a little bit more about the screencasting?
It was just released last week. I'm an ambassador for them as well, and they released it for us at the end, like in March. No, not March. In May. And I played around with it, but I haven't used it yet. But if you go back into their Twitter from last week, there is all kind. They just had their Flipgrid live event, and there's all the details from it, and on their page, on the Flipgrid actual page, how to. And there's little video. They're really good on YouTube too. So they have a lot of videos showing you how to use all of the new things.
Yeah, that's great, because we did have another question about other ways to get training a little bit more in depth in doing some Flipgrid training. So do you have any things that you used when you got started that was really helpful?
I think the biggest thing when you're playing around in Flipgrid is to just try it and make videos yourself. When you are using it, so that's really how I taught myself a lot of it, or as kids were playing around with it. On a Chromebook or a laptop, they can go to flipgrid.com. If they're using it on their phone or a tablet, they have to have the app, which caused some problems in e-learning too, because not all of my kids had the app. So they might have had to borrow a parent's phone, or like maybe their phone couldn't run the app because their phone was so old. So that was just something to just work through, that we all got it worked out. But sometimes we had to like kind of play around with it.
Yeah, so that might be helpful, is letting people know the different devices and how they need to use that up front.
They also, I was in their YouTube channel yesterday when I was just building that bulb page, and they have live events similar to what we're doing right now. And they have live events that you can sign up for. I think the next one is on the 11th. And you can go into YouTube and the Flipgrid, their actual channel for Flipgrid, not just somebody made a Flipgrid video. And you can sign up to do that live one, and it's all free.
Yeah, that's great. Great tips. Someone had asked, do you know, is there a video length for the Flipgrid videos?
A video, so to download the video, or
just like when you're recording it, can you only do a 3-minute video or a 10-minute? Or
the length? I'm sorry, link. The length is 5 minutes for the so as short as, like, I think you can set it as 30 seconds is the shortest that you can set, but a kid can do like a 2-second video. And then 5 minutes is the longest you can do with it. And then with the screencast, those are 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I love thinking about students responding and interacting with their class via video, doing reflections, their check-ins and things like that. And when you think about Bulb as a portfolio and capturing growth and evidence of learning, you know, those are group activities that they're doing within Flipgrid and interacting with the teacher, but those are also pieces of evidence of where they are in their project or their growth or their feelings about kind of where they are. And so being able to download that video and add it as that archived piece of evidence of part of a greater story, which is really what Bulb is in your portfolio, is great to be able to have those videos. And you upload it like you would any other video into Bulb, simply because you can just add that video file directly into the Bulb page. So it's, I love that Flipgrid has really helped create this culture of video responses and alternative ways to interact in class. And it's great that then you can use that as components to build in your portfolio.
I think one other thing, if you are having any problems with Flipgrid or you did something and you feel you did it wrong, they are super responsive on Twitter as well. So you can just tweet out like, what did I do wrong? And like someone will either direct message you and like work it out, or just tweet back and forth and they'll help you figure out how to fix things. I would say the biggest problem I've ever had with Flipgrid is there's 3 different styles of, I'm going to go back and share my screen so you can see this. There's 3 different styles of grids to create. So if I go to my grids and I add a grid, they're really thinking about student security and safety. So if I use the school email, it's going to default to my teacher school email, which is not the same as my student's school email. Oh, I have to make something name. Okay, so if I go over here and I go next, it just grabbed my teacher's email. I need to add the students one, which is at k12.friscoisd.org. If I don't do that, kids can't access the screen. So So, and I can go back and edit that later, and I can change that. And you can see the different types of ones. So these are school ones, but the bulb one is a public one because I used it for professional development. You'll also see it does integrate with Canvas too. That's a much bigger, you can just Google how to do that or talk to your digital learning professionals on your campus. If you use Canvas to do that, there are some steps to do that, but it makes it really easy to grade videos and have some accountability.
Yeah, that's a great tip when we're talking about technology integration, and we're talking about so many different apps, and a lot of them work together. So trying to figure out what that flow, and of course there's always multiple ways to be able to do things. So we just appreciate all the tips that you gave us today, Erin, about Flipgrid and creating that bulb page. And again, all those resources that were shared today will be sending out after our LearnFest Day 3, which is tomorrow. So thank you so much, Erin. We really, really appreciate all of your insight. And just to kind of wrap us up, I'm going to bump over to my screen. And one of the things that Erin was sharing about in terms of the Disco library in Flipgrid and how much she loves that, I wanted to also make a point as well to let you know that Bulb also has a resource center and library filled of hundreds of templates and user examples, case studies, videos, webinars, blogs, all of that that you can search within our library as well. These are all accessible to you. You can go to our bulbapp.com, click on resources and resource center, or if you're signed into your Bulb portfolio, you can go to those 3 lines in your upper right-hand corner. I call that the hamburger menu, and find your more. And under there is also a link directly out to our resource center. So that's a great way to access examples and templates and things, just as we encourage you to explore that from a Flipgrid perspective. You can do that within Bulb as well. Also, we talked a little bit and mentioned earlier today about parent accounts and parent engagement and how important that is. And so we'll be sending out this link, but go on our website, check out our parent accounts. It's an incredible way to connect parents with your student portfolios and let them see the work that's happening inside their portfolios in real time and be able to have some interaction and feedback from that family engagement perspective. So go check that out.